Welcome to the Wellness Lab Digest, where we help you to absorb powerful, life-changing insights from top wellness experts with our daily, bite-sized wellness podcast summaries. Each episode is packed with distilled, powerful takeaways to boost your health and well-being. To support this podcast, please scroll down on whatever app you're listening on. Ratings and reviews are helpful. Even better, just send the show to a friend. Or check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page, or simply click the Support the Show link.
Okay, so intermittent fasting, right? You guys sent in a ton of YouTube videos, some anecdotal evidence, and wow, even I have to admit, I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah.
We all want to know, does it really work?
Great.
Is it sustainable, or is this just another fad diet?
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to cut through all the noise and figure out if intermittent fasting might be right for you.
You know what I think is so fascinating about intermittent fasting is it's not about what you eat, it's about when you eat. It's this idea of time-restricted feeding. So you're basically giving your body a break from constantly digesting.
Right. It's like hitting the pause button in your metabolism for a certain amount of time each day. Almost like giving your digestive system a chance to, catch its breath.
Exactly. And this aligns with some pretty interesting evolutionary biology.
Okay.
Our ancestors, they didn't have access to food 24/7 like we do.
Right.
They evolved with periods of feast and famine.
Makes sense.
So our bodies are actually kind of wired for these natural cycles of eating and not eating.
So it's not this like radical new concept, but it's more like a return to a more primal way of eating.
Yeah.
Now, you sent in some research from ZOE, and they've done the world's largest study on intermittent fasting to date.
They have.
So what have they found?
Well, their findings are pretty compelling.
Okay.
Even with just a modest 10-hour eating window, participants saw consistent weight loss, but it was small.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is the improvement in energy levels and mood.
Wait, so improved mood? I thought people would be hangry during those fasting periods.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the surprising part. Participants actually reported reduced hunger. So think of it this way. When your body isn't constantly digesting food, it becomes much more efficient at using stored energy.
Okay.
Which might lead to that feeling of sustained energy and less intense hunger pangs.
That's starting to make sense. Now, what about reduced inflammation we know that's linked to so many chronic diseases?
Yes, ZOE's study found a potential link there, but we need to be cautious. Most of the research on intermittent fasting is still short-term, so the jury is still out on the long-term effects, especially when it comes to something as complex as chronic inflammation.
Proceed with cautious optimism, right?
Exactly.
Another question that's on a lot of people's minds is, the impact on women specifically, hormones, menopause. These can play a huge role in how our bodies respond to different eating patterns.
Absolutely.
So what does the research say about that?
That's a crucial point, and unfortunately, there's just a lack of in-depth research on how intermittent fasting affects women differently. There is some anecdotal evidence that suggests positive effects, but we really need more data to make any definitive conclusions.
It's a reminder that everyone's body is unique, right?
Yes.
And what works for one person might not work for another.
For sure.
Speaking of individual experiences, one of the videos you sent in featured Jen Stevens, and she's a leading expert in intermittent fasting.
Yes.
And she talks about something called the clean fast.
Yes.
So what's that all about?
So a clean fast essentially means that you're only consuming plain water, black coffee, or plain tea during your fasting periods.
Right.
And the reason behind this is fascinating.
Okay.
Even small amounts of milk sweeteners or artificial flavorings, they can actually trigger an insulin response.
So even if you're technically not eating that little splash of milk in your coffee, could be preventing your body from fully tapping into its fat burning mode.
Exactly. Insulin is a hormone that signals to your body to store fat.
Okay.
So by keeping insulin levels low during your fast, you're basically encouraging your body to utilize its stored fat for energy.
That's where things get tricky for me, I'll be honest.
Okay.
I used to really struggle with the clean fast. I would think, just a splash of cream in my coffee. What harm could it do?
Right.
But when I finally committed to black coffee, oh my gosh, I noticed a huge difference in my energy levels and just how I felt overall.
Wow, that's a great example of how such a subtle change can make a significant impact. It highlights the importance of experimenting and paying attention to your body's individual responses.
Now, Jen Stevens also emphasizes starting slow and gradually adapting to intermittent fasting. Our bodies need time to adjust. Great.
Absolutely. Crash dieting or drastic changes rarely lead to sustainable results.
Right.
Jen Stevens suggests easing into it. You can start with maybe a 12-hour fast and gradually reduce that eating window as your body gets accustomed to it.
And that's where that listen to your body advice really comes in, because there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Jen Stevens, she found that a 4 to 5 hour eating window works for her.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't mean that's the magic number for everyone.
Exactly. Some people thrive on a 10-hour eating window. Others might benefit from alternate day fasting.
Yeah.
The key is to experiment and find what feels sustainable and beneficial for your lifestyle and goals.
So let's tackle some common myths about intermittent fasting.
Okay.
One of the biggest concerns I hear is that it'll trigger starvation mode.
Right.
Is there any truth to that?
So let's unpack that term starvation mode. It's this idea that when you severely restrict calories for prolonged periods, your body goes into survival mode, clinging to every calorie and slowing down your metabolism.
So basically the fear is that intermittent fasting will backfire and make it harder to lose weight.
Right. But here's the thing. Intermittent fasting done properly does not trigger starvation mode.
Okay.
Our bodies are incredibly adaptable. Short periods of fasting don't send your body into panic mode. Instead, they can actually improve metabolic flexibility,
Okay.
meaning your body becomes better at switching between using glucose and stored fat for fuel.
Okay, that's reassuring. But there's another myth I want to debunk.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting is not a free pass to eat whatever you want during your eating window.
I couldn't agree more. Food quality still matters. You can't load up on processed foods and expect to reap the full benefits of intermittent fasting.
It's about making mindful choices, right?
Yes.
Nourishing your body with whole, nutrient-dense foods, regardless of your eating pattern. And while we're on the topic of myth-busting, let's address the idea that intermittent fasting is a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right. It's definitely not. It's about finding a rhythm that fits your life, your body, your goals. Just as Jen Stevens found what worked for her, you need to experiment and discover what works best for you.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
Could giving your body a break from constant digestion really be the key to unlocking more energy, a better mood, and a healthier work? We've given you a lot to consider now. It's about exploring and deciding if it might be a good fit for your lifestyle.
And don't forget that the science of intermittent fasting is still evolving. The ZOE study is ongoing.
Oh, right.
Which brings up a really exciting opportunity.
You mean participating in the study?
Exactly. It's a chance to contribute to cutting-edge research and potentially gain personalized insights into how intermittent fasting affects your own body.
That's something to chew on. Now, I'm curious, what are your initial thoughts on all of this? Are you intrigued, skeptical, maybe a bit of both?
One thing that often comes up, when we talk about intermittent fasting is the social aspect of eating.
Yeah.
Because food is such a big part of our culture.
Yeah.
Our celebrations, our everyday interactions.
Oh, totally. We gather around food. We connect over food.
Exactly.
We comfort ourselves with food. So how do you navigate that, when you're intentionally choosing not to eat during certain periods?
It's a valid concern, and it does require, a little bit of planning and open communication with the people in your life.
Yeah.
So let's say, you'll be attending a dinner party or something.
Right.
You can always adjust your eating window that day so that you can enjoy the meal with your friends.
And if you can't adjust your window, just be honest.
Yes.
Let your friends know, hey, I'm practicing intermittent fasting, so I might not be eating at the same time as you guys.
Right.
Most people are really understanding about it, especially when you explain, the potential health benefits.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation.
Right.
If someone's insistent, you can just say, hey, I'm not hungry right now.
Yeah. I love that your choice. And what I found helpful is focusing on the positives.
Yeah.
When I talk about intermittent fasting, instead of dwelling on what I'm not eating,
Right.
I emphasize how much energy I have, the mental clarity, how much better I sleep.
That's great. Enthusiasm is contagious.
Yeah.
When people see the positive changes in you, they're going to be more curious and less likely to be judgmental.
And it subtly shifts the focus from deprivation to empowerment, right?
Exactly.
You're not denying yourself.
Right.
You're making a conscious choice to nourish your body in a way that feels good.
Speaking of feeling good, let's talk about exercise.
Okay.
A lot of people wonder, is it okay to exercise while fasting? Is it even beneficial?
Yeah. Does your body need fuel to power through a workout, or can it just tap into those fat stores that we talked about earlier?
So the answer, as with many aspects of intermittent fasting, is it really depends on the individual.
Okay.
It depends on the type of exercise, the intensity, the duration of your fast, and just how your body responds.
So listen to your body again.
Exactly. For a light workout, like yoga or a brisk walk, you're probably fine exercising in a fasted state.
Okay.
But if you're planning a high-intensity interval training session or you're lifting heavy weights, you might want to fuel up beforehand or adjust your eating window.
I was surprised by how much energy I had for my workouts while fasting.
Really?
I used to think I needed that, pre-workout snack.
Right.
But it turns out my body was totally capable of tapping into its stored energy for fuel.
That's a common experience, and it highlights the incredible adaptability of the human body.
Mm.
But again, it's crucial to listen to your body and not push yourself too hard, especially in the beginning,
Right.
and stay hydrated.
Yes, always.
That's always important, but even more so when you're exercising and fasting.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of intermittent fasting schedules.
Okay.
We talked about that 10-hour eating window from the ZOE study.
Uh-huh.
But there's also the 16-8 method, the 5-2 approach, alternate day fasting. So many options.
Yep.
Is there an ideal schedule?
Research is ongoing, and there's no definitive answer to that question. Longer fasting periods might offer more pronounced benefits, but they can also be more challenging to maintain, and sustainability is key.
Right. You don't want to choose a schedule that's so restrictive that you end up feeling miserable and giving up altogether.
Exactly. The best intermittent fasting schedule is the one you can stick with consistently. The one that integrates seamlessly into your life, supports your goals, and makes you feel good.
And that might involve some trial and error, right?
Yes.
Maybe you start with a 12-hour fasting window and gradually reduce it to 10 or 8 hours. Or maybe alternate day fasting works better for you. It's a journey of self-discovery.
It is, and it's important to remember that the potential benefits of intermittent fasting extend beyond weight management.
Right.
Think reduced inflammation, improved insulin sensitivity,
Right.
a healthier gut, increased energy, even sharper cognitive function.
It's like giving your whole body a tune-up. So for those who are ready to dip their toes into intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
what are some expert-backed tips for success?
First and foremost, embrace patience and gradual change. Remember Jen Stevens's 28-day fast start program?
Yeah.
It's a fantastic model for gently easing your body into fasting.
And maintaining a clean fast.
Yes.
Those seemingly harmless additives can really sabotage your efforts.
They can.
Planning your meals ahead of time can also set you up for success.
Absolutely.
Because it eliminates those last-minute impulsive food choices.
Right.
And don't underestimate the power of community.
Oh, yeah.
Connecting with others who are also exploring intermittent fasting can provide a valuable support system.
For sure.
Sharing tips, recipes, and encouragement can make a world of difference.
And above all, listen to your body.
Yeah.
If you're feeling overly hungry, lightheaded, or fatigued, break your fast.
Right.
There's no shame in adjusting your schedule as needed.
It's all about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
And celebrate those small victories. Each day that you successfully stick to your plan, you're moving closer to a healthier, happier version of yourself. As we've been talking about all this practical stuff about intermittent fasting, I've been thinking about the mental and emotional shifts it can bring about.
That's a really great point. It's not just about changing when you eat. It's really about cultivating a new relationship with food and your body.
It's almost like a mindfulness practice.
It is.
You become more in tune with your body's signals.
Yeah.
You learn to differentiate between real hunger and those emotional cravings we talked about.
Exactly. Intermittent fasting can really help you develop a much deeper understanding of your body's natural rhythms and needs.
And you know that awareness can empower you to make more conscious choices about food instead of just reacting to cravings or external cues.
Right. It's about reclaiming a sense of agency over your eating habits instead of feeling like they're controlling you.
Okay, so speaking of control,
Yeah.
a question that pops up a lot is about supplements in intermittent fasting.
Right.
Do you need them? Are there certain supplements that enhance the benefits? What's the deal?
That's a really common question. And it makes sense with all the supplements that are out there specifically targeted at people who are fasting.
Right.
But here's the thing. If you're eating a healthy, balanced diet, you should be getting all the essential nutrients your body needs, whether you're fasting or not.
So supplements aren't necessarily a must-have for everyone who's practicing intermittent fasting.
Exactly. However, there are certain situations where they could be beneficial.
Okay.
For example, if you follow a vegan or vegetarian diet, you might need to supplement with B12,
Right.
which is mostly found in animal products.
And if you live somewhere that doesn't get a lot of sun, A vitamin D supplement could be really important.
Yes. Always a good idea to check with your doctor or registered dietitian,
Mm.
just to see if you have any nutrient deficiencies that might need a supplement.
They can assess your needs and give you some personalized recommendations.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that supplements should be complementing a healthy diet, not replacing it.
Now, as we wrap up our deep dive into intermittent fasting,
Yes.
I want to leave you with a thought to ponder.
Okay.
We've explored the science, the potential benefits, the practical tips, and how important personalization is.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, the decision to try intermittent fasting is totally personal.
It is.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's all about what feels right for you.
If you're intrigued by what we talked about today, if you're looking for ways to improve your health and well-being, I really encourage you to approach intermittent fasting with an open mind and a healthy dose of curiosity.
And don't forget that exciting research from ZOE we talked about.
Oh, yes.
Their studies are still going on, and participating in them is an amazing way to contribute to our understanding of this ancient eating pattern. You might even get some valuable insights into your own health.
It's a chance to be part of something big, to help unlock the secrets of intermittent fasting and really embark on a journey of self-discovery.
So as you think about all of this information, just remember that intermittent fasting isn't a magic bullet.
Right.
It's a tool. And like any tool, it's only as effective as the person using it. Use it thoughtfully. Understand its benefits and its limitations.
And you just might find that giving your body a break from constantly digesting is the key to unlocking a healthier and happier you thing. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Lab Digest. If you receive value from the podcast, I have 3 asks of you. 1, share the show on social media with your friends and tag the show at the Wellness Lab Digest on Instagram. Number 2, please leave a rating and review in whatever app you're listening on. And last but not least, please let me know what topics you would like us to cover in the future. You can contact me at empoweringmen.org/contact. And right now we have a free ebook to get you started on your wellness journey as well. That's empoweringmen.org/contact. To support this podcast, check out our sponsors at the bottom of the page or simply click the Support the Show link.